So, good evening and welcome to today's class. Now, I don't want to be really annoying and predictable and repeating myself and like a broken record, but I think we could still do a little bit more work on our gerunds and infinitives. So the exercise we're going to do today is actually an exercise from the workbook. So if you have the workbook, open page 51, and if not, fear not, I have a plan. Okay, so if you have the workbook, fantastic. If you don't have the workbook, it's not a problem. Okay, so we're going to look on page 51 for those of you who have the workbook. We're going to look at, obviously, exercise number 3, grammar, gerunds and infinitives. Now, the exercises I have given you over the last, I suppose on Wednesday I gave them to you, last Wednesday. They were more related to kind of the simple gerunds, the simple infinitives, revising which verbs go with the gerund, which go with the infinitive. So let's do a very specifically designed exercise for our grammar point. Now, let's have a look at exercise A. Exercise A says complete the sentences with the correct gerund or infinitive form of the verbs in the list. Now, become, complain, forget, this is the example, learn, photograph, program, set up, sniff, and take and wear. Now, if you have the workbook, stop the recording now, take some time to complete the sentences, because when you come back, we'll be going sentence by sentence to complete the sentences. Now, let's have a look at the example. Ryan apologized for having forgotten my name the day before. Of course, because he forgot, no? So he apologized for having forgotten in the past. Now, let's take a look at sentence number 2. My parents never record TV programs because they don't know how to their video player to record in advance. Now, the first thing we need to do is choose the verb. So take a moment to choose the verb. Have you chosen the verb? And then you need to decide if we need our gerund, our infinitive. So let's look for the clues. Let's look for the clues. Well, I see here a WH, how. Do you remember our WH words like who, what, when, where, why, and of course how, Are they followed by ing or are they followed by 2 plus infinitive? Well, generally they're followed by, what do you think? 2 plus infinitive, but there is one exception. What's the exception? Do you remember? What's the exception? The exception is why. 10 points for anyone who got that answer. Now, let's see. We've decided we're going to use an infinitive now. Let's see which verb. Which verb? Have you chosen your verb? So complete the sentence. Are you ready? Let's look at number 2, pardon. My parents never record TV programs because they don't know how to program their DVD player to record in advance. Of course, they don't know how to program. They don't know how to do it. Very good. Now, let's have a look at sentence number 3. You seem a lot at the moment. Have you got a cold? Okay. What do you think the verb could be? Choose your verb. Have you chosen? Okay. Now we need to decide what form of the gerund or the infinitive. Let's have a look. Any clues? Can you see any clues? Well, what's before the gap? The verb? Seem. Is seem followed by 2 plus infinitive or is seem followed by ing? You tell me. Fill in the gap. Fill in the gap. Have you got an answer? Let's see. You seem to be sniffing a lot. Ooh, a continuous infinitive because what do I have here? At the moment. So at the moment, you are sniffing a lot. You seem to be sniffing a lot at the moment. Did you get that? The continuous infinitive. How exciting is that? Maybe not very. But let's have a look at number 4. Are you ready for number 4? Okay. Many celebrities say they are fed up with blah, blah, blah every time they leave the house. Well, that's probably not a problem for them these days because nobody can really leave the house. Now, let's see. Have you chosen a verb? Have you chosen a verb? Yeah? What do people usually do to to celebrities? My goodness, so you have the verb. No, did you get the verb? Excellent. Now, we've got here fed up with. Now, with is a preposition. Is a preposition followed by to plus infinitive or ing? Have you decided? Okay. But I think we are also going to have to look at my auxiliary verb. Can you see? They are fed up with what? I think in this case we need a very specific type of infinitive or gerund. Fill in the gap and we'll talk. Fill in the gap, and we'll talk. Have you filled it in? So many celebrities say they are fed up with being. Now, just a moment, we'll get the full answer. Being photographed, of course. Being photographed, no? Every time they leave the house. Now, why being photographed? Because it is a passive, no? Because people, usually paparazzi, take photos of celebrities, no? The celebrities, no? Are taken photos of, no? They are photographed, no? So celebrities are photographed. So they are fed up with being photographed. Did you get it? Okay, well, let's try number 5 in that case. It's no good about your back. Why don't you make an appointment to see the doctor? Now, have you chosen a verb? Choose your verb, choose carefully. And then we have this expression, it's no good. Do you remember? It's no good, it's no use, there's no point. No, these expressions with it or there, are they followed by to plus infinitive or ing? Have you got an answer? Shall we check? Let's see. It's no good, complaining about your back, ing. Why don't you make an appointment to see the doctor? Very nice. How are we doing? Any problems? Well, let's move on to number 6. What was the last animal extinct? Now again, choose a verb. Choose a verb. Now a verb which might very nicely collocate with extinct, no? And I think we need here also this idea, the last. No, do you remember? The first, the last, the superlatives, the best, the worst, the quickest, the slowest. Do you remember if the superlatives and these expressions of the last, the first are followed by to plus infinitive or ing? What do you think? Have you chosen a verb? Have you put that verb with to plus infinitive or ing? Well, that's correct. We've got to become. Let's read the sentence. What was the last animal to become extinct? How are we doing? Any problems? Let's look at number 7. Eve would rather, blah, 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 a new outfit to the wedding last week, but she couldn't afford one. Now, a couple of things here. Okay, have you chosen a verb? Outfit is clothes. No es como un conjunto, no? So it's clothes. So choose a verb which will suit clothes. Have you chosen your verb? Well, then let's analyze. So we have would rather. Now remember, that's a little bit special, would rather. And of course, we have the wedding last week. So I think we need either an infinitive or a gerund, you decide, but it must express the past, so it must be perfect. Fill in the gap, please. Have you got an answer? Let's see. Eve would rather have worn, el infinitivo sin el tú, sin el tú, recordad? A new outfit to the wedding last week, but she couldn't afford one. That was number 7. Let's look at number 8. There's no point in antibiotics if you've got a virus. There's no point in antibiotics if you've got a virus. Well, what verb do you think would suit antibiotics there? What verb? Have you chosen a verb? And then again, we have one of these expressions, there's no point, and I think in is going to be very helpful there, no? After a preposition, is it infinitive or ing? Fill in the gap, please. Shall we look? There's no point in taking antibiotics if you've got a virus. There's no point if you've got a virus. There's no point in taking antibiotics. Now remember, in this expression, it's a very nice expression, we can omit in. So you can also say, there's no point taking. There's no point in taking means exactly the same as there's no point taking. So we can use that expression, there's no point, with or without in. There's no point in. So far so good? Excellent. Now, let's look at number 9. Oh, we're nearly there. Let's see. Now, a couple I know, had a plan, their own business, but it fell through when they split up. Now, if something falls through, it means it doesn't come to fruition. It fell through. So it didn't come to fruition. Now, a couple I know had a plan. Well, we've got plan here. Now, plan is a noun. But plan is a noun that has a verb to plan, no? And sometimes nouns and verbs, no, are followed by the same form. So is it plan plus to plus infinitive or plan plus ing? What do you think? And what would you do with a business? Have you found your verb? Are you ready? Okay, let's see. Oops, excuse me, not that one. Oh my goodness, what a disaster. Sorry. Number 10 is a present from my heart, Excuse me, Butterfingers. You know I tell you all the time I'm Butterfingers. Now, number 9. A couple I know had a plan to set up their own business, not to establish, but it fell through when they split up. To split up, to end a relationship. To split up, nice phrasal verb, to end a relationship. Now, let's talk about number 10 because I inadvertently filled in the gap. My goodness, I'm so sorry, by the way. Now, let's see. Having learned several languages before, well, this before is telling me, that it's in the past, I'm finding my new course quite easy. Now, this is a very nice use of my gerund, my perfect gerund, having done something, and this usually is the idea of before I did something. So before I learned several languages in the past, I'm finding my new course quite easy. Now, my apologies for ruining number 10. I know you were so excited to fill in the gap on your own. I know, you can't fool me. So I apologize, Now, let's have a look at exercise B. Oh, complete the sentences with 3 words. How many words? 3 words. 1, 2, 3. 3. Use the correct gerund or infinitive form of the verbs in brackets. How exciting is this? Let's see. Let's look at the example. I would thoroughly. Thoroughly means really in this case. I would thoroughly recommend. This resort to families with young children. There's plenty for them to do. Oh, brilliant. I love it. We've got here for somebody, to do. Now, do you remember that? It's too hot for me to go out. Japanese is too difficult for me to learn. So we have this idea of for somebody to do something. Now, let's look at number 2. We hope off the mortgage on our house by the time we retire. Now, I'm going to point out here, I'm very good at pointing out the clues. By the time we retire. So that would mean before we retire. By the time we retire means before we retire. Now you must use the verb pay. And you must use how many words? 3 words. Sorry if I scared you. Now, let's have a look. Fill in the gap. Have you got an answer? Here we go. We hope to have paid off the mortgage on our house by the time we retire, ¿no? Para cuando nos jubilemos, haberlo hecho, ¿no? Very nice. Very good. What about number 3? I would love, my paternal grandfather, but he died before I was born. So I think very important information in this sentence is he died before I was born. So clearly we must express the past, no? So I think we're going to need perfect, gerund, or infinitive. You choose. And remember, I have would love. Now would love, would like, would hate, would prefer, would like, would love, would hate, would prefer. What form do they take? Fill in the gap, please. Have you got an answer? Let's check. I would love to have met, ¿no? Me encantaría haber conocido, ¿no? My paternal grandfather, but he died before I was born. Let's do number 4, shall we? Our holiday in the French Riviera, sorry, my French is terrible, was a bit of a disappointment because it wasn't warm, in the sea. Oh, our holiday in the French Riviera was a bit of a disappointment because it wasn't warm in the sea. Now here I think we're going to need to introduce a modifier, no, which is talking about quantity, no, because I think in this case it was too cold to swim. So if it was too cold, it wasn't. Do you know what I'm getting at? Do you know what I'm insinuating? Let's see if you can fill in the gap. Have you got an answer? Let's check. Our holiday in the French Riviera was a bit of a disappointment because it wasn't warm enough to swim in the sea. Difficult one, no? Warm enough to swim in the sea. How are we doing? Any problems? What about number 5? How frustrating for them, the match in the last minute. They must have been gutted. Now, this is very nice vocabulary. Gutted is very disappointed. I'm absolutely gutted. I'm extremely disappointed. Now, let's have a look. What else have we got here? We've got how disappointing for them. Do you know how that continues? The match in the last minute. Now you must use lose. And remember, they must have been is in the past. So we need to express the past here. Take a moment to fill in the gap. Have you got an answer? There we go. To have lost. Let's read the sentence. How frustrating for them to have lost the match in the last minute. No, haber perdido, no? They must have been gutted. So far, so good? Are you gutted, by the way, that we are still in phase 0? Or do you think it's a good idea? Let me know your thoughts. Are you gutted? Or are you satisfied? Content, even? Let's see. Number 6. It's very common for employees, redundant when their company is doing badly. Now, again, I'm going to point out here, now it's common for employees, now. And here we have this very nice idea of make redundant, no? Which means that you tell people they have lost their job because there isn't enough work to do. Okay, so they are not fired, because if you are fired, usually it's because you have done something wrong in your job. But if your company makes you redundant, they tell you that there isn't work to be done. Okay. Now, let's have a look. It's very common for employees, redundant when their company is doing badly. Now, you may have noticed in my explanation that I said the company makes employees redundant. So I think we're going to need a passive here. Shall we fill in the gap? It's very common for employees to be made redundant when their company is doing badly. Now, what about number 7? A friend of mine is hoping for a TV cookery show. We have to use choose. Now again, let's just point out a few things. Is hoping. Hope is a verb which is followed by 2 plus infinitive or ing. You tell me. 2 plus infinitive or ing. And again, I think we're going to need the passive, no? Because the TV cookery show, no? The producers or the directors or whoever, those are the people who are going to choose my friend. So I think we need a passive here. Have you got an answer? Let's see. A friend of mine is hoping to be chosen. So hope is followed by 2 plus infinitive. And of course it must be passive, no? Ser elegida, no? Or elegido for a TV cookery show. Would you like to be chosen for a TV cookery show? Do you think it will be exciting? Or maybe you just don't like cooking. I don't know. Let's see. Let me know your thoughts. Number 8. Most children enjoy blah, blah, blah. The zoo by their parents. Now, again, enjoy is a verb. Is it followed by ing or 2 plus infinitive? Now remember, it kind of expresses preferences, things you like, dislike. Those verbs are usually followed by except would like, would love, would hate, would prefer, which are followed by Let's see. And again, I think the parents take the children. So I think we're going to need the passive here. Have you filled in the gap? Let's see. Most children enjoy being taken to the zoo by their parents. No? So enjoy followed by ing. No? Like, love, hate. And remember, would like, would love, would hate, would prefer are followed by 2 plus infinitive. Remember that. Good. What about number 9? Book first really helped me to understand the plot in the film. Okay. Now, I think here we have, what did I do? Well, first, I read the book, no? And then I understood the plot. So I think we need some sort of perfect idea, no? But is it a perfect infinitive or a perfect gerund? Let's see what you can do. Fill in the gap. Have you got an answer? Let's see. Having read the book first. Having read, not after reading the book, no? Having read the book first really helps me to understand the plot in the film. Now just 2 more. Here we go. Number 10. There's in our village in the evenings, not even a pub. Oh, now we need to use the verb go. Huh. Let's see what you can do. Fill in the gap. Have you got an answer? Well, there's nowhere to go, no? No? In our village in the evenings, not even a pub. That is not a village. If there's not even a pub, that's not even a village, no? And finally, number 11, there's your sister to the wedding. We know she won't come. So I think it's don't invite your sister because she's not going to come. I think we need an expression here, no? Now remember, we can use 3 words. Only 3 words. Are you ready? Have you got an answer? There's no point inviting. Now here, because we have the restriction of 3 words, I can only put no point, no? Inviting. But in the real world, I could put there's no point in inviting, and this sentence would be correct. Now, how did you do on our gerunds and infinitives? Are you really sick of them? Are you really sick of them? Well, this is the last, I promise. This is the last exercise we will do. But I think it's worth making the effort. So thank you for your patience. Thanks for listening. And remember, any problems or any doubts, please, please, please just let me know. Thank you.